Sanders wins the starting quarterback job in Cleveland, okay? And nobody's thinking that the Browns are going to be able to do anything this year. However, this guy comes in and he takes them to a 10-win season. 10 wins.
That would be sweet.
As a rookie. Very similar to what happened last year with Daniels in Washington. And he wins offensive.
Nobody saw this coming, not even Deion. Shedeur Sanders just pulled off something at Browns OTAs that has the entire league buzzing. And yes, even veteran quarterbacks are taking notice. From a 5th-round draft fall to suddenly being the most talked about QB on the field. How did this happen so fast? And why is everyone, including his own teammates, stunned by what he's doing on that field? Stay locked in, because what you're about to see and hear could seriously change how we talk about the Browns this season and Shedeur Sanders' future in the NFL. When the NFL draft kicked off, no one could have predicted how far Shedeur Sanders would fall. This was a guy once talked about as a potential top 3 pick, even top 2 in some mock drafts. He had the stats, the arm, the footwork, the big game mentality. But when the dust settled, Sanders slipped all the way to the 5th round. 5th. It was one of the most surprising drops of the entire draft, and it left a lot of people asking one question: what happened? Some blamed his attitude, others pointed fingers at the Deion effect, that lingering doubt some teams had about drafting the coach's kid. Whatever the case, it was clear teams passed up on pure talent because of off-field narratives. But here's the thing, the league might have just handed the Browns an absolute steal. Let's not forget what Shedeur did in college. His ability to process defenses, stay poised under pressure, and deliver accurate throws in high-leverage moments made him stand out in a stacked quarterback class. Yet on draft day, teams went with safer options, guys with more traditional scouting reports. And now, those same decision makers might be watching Browns OTA footage and second-guessing everything, because what Shedeur is doing now, it doesn't look like a 5th rounder fighting for reps. It looks like a guy who's been silently waiting to prove everyone wrong, and now he's finally getting his shot. If the NFL thought they could ignore him just because of where he was drafted, Shedeur's making sure they know that mistake might cost them. And that right there is where this story really begins. The whispers started early. Once Shedeur Sanders hit the field at rookie minicamp, things started to shift. No cameras, no hype, just raw ability on display. And right away, the Browns staff noticed something different. It wasn't just the throws, although yes, those were on point. It was how he carried himself, confident but not cocky, vocal but not overbearing. You could tell he wasn't just there to participate, he was there to lead. Even in limited reps, Shedeur's timing stood out. The way he worked through progressions, the ball placement, the footwork, it was cleaner than many expected. One coach reportedly said he looked weeks ahead of where most rookies are in their first week. That kind of early polish got people inside the building talking. And let's not forget, this is the same guy who got labeled a system quarterback by doubters pre-draft. But in these early sessions, stripped of the Colorado spotlight and media narratives, Shedeur started rewriting the script, no gimmicks, just football. It was the first glimpse, just a flash, but it was enough to plant the seed. Maybe the Browns got something real here, something no one else saw coming. Then came day 2 of OTAs, the first day open to the media. And that's when everything shifted. Shedeur Sanders didn't just show up, he took over the spotlight. Reporters were watching, cameras were rolling, and what they saw left the room buzzing. Up until that point, the rookie had been under the radar, but now, everyone in the building started leaning in. During a 7-on-7 drill, Shedeur dropped back with the kind of poise you usually see from a seasoned starter. The defense rolled into man coverage and the safety shaded to the left. That's when Shedeur saw the mismatch, a tight end slipping past a linebacker down the right side. No hesitation. He launched a corner route with pinpoint accuracy, hitting the receiver perfectly in stride right at the edge of the end zone. It wasn't flashy, it was clinical. That throw made people stop what they were doing. It wasn't about arm strength. It was about awareness, timing, and total command. Coaches took notice. Teammates started nodding. Analysts started whispering the question that no one expected to ask this early. Is this kid the real deal? This wasn't just another OTA rep. This was the moment Shedeur Sanders arrived. Everyone who was there keeps talking about that throw, and for good reason. It wasn't just the best play of the day, it might have been the best throw of the entire OTAs so far, in a tight 7-on-7. drill, Shedeur Sanders stepped back, scanned the defense, and delivered a laser that had scouts, coaches, and even veteran players looking around like, wait, did we just see that? The defense was pressing, coverage was tight, and the window was barely the size of a football, but Shedeur timed it perfectly. He recognized the safety biting on a short route, instantly knew his tight end had a one-on-one against a slower linebacker, and pulled the trigger. The ball floated just long enough to clear the defender's reach, but dropped right into the receiver's hands in stride at the back corner of the end zone. No panic, no hesitation, just execution. It was the kind of throw that tells you everything you need to know about a quarterback's instincts. The read, the touch, the confidence. It was all there. That single play silenced a lot of doubters. And suddenly, the conversation around Shedeur wasn't, can he hang in the NFL? It was, how soon is too soon to start him?
Both of those guys got drafted, by the same team, and you guys can see this was a previous interception that he threw right here in minicamp, and things are starting to stack up as Shedeur Sanders is not throwing any interceptions. He's continuing to be flawless, and his brother Deion Gabriel seeming to throw a lot more interceptions, balls batted down at the line, and at the end of the day, these are some of the things that they don't necessarily want to put out to the public, but it's all I'm bringing to my audience, because if you guys haven't seen these clips, I think it's important you see these clips, because if it was Shedeur Sanders, it would be everywhere if he was throwing interceptions like this.
Shedeur was quietly stacking highlights. The other quarterbacks were having a very different kind of day. Joe Flacco brought that veteran calm, no doubt. He's been around long enough to manage the game, make smart decisions, and keep the offense moving. But you could tell the zip just isn't there like it used to be. Solid, but safe. Then there's Kenny Pickett, consistent, experienced, and running the offense smoothly. But at OTAs, he didn't pop off the screen. He looked like a placeholder, not a playmaker. And in a league where explosive moments win, games that matters. But the one who really drew attention, for the wrong reasons, was Deion Gabriel. He had some solid reps, sure, but multiple passes were batted down at the line, and one misfire even turned into a pick six. You could see him adjusting mid-session, trying to release the ball higher just to avoid defenders, which led to a few throws sailing over his targets. That's not the kind of habit you want setting in early. And while all that was happening, Shedeur Sanders was out there looking smooth, accurate, and in total control. Quietly, but unmistakably, he's shifting the entire quarterback dynamic in Cleveland. Inside the Browns locker room, there's one word that keeps coming up when people talk about Shedeur Sanders. Calm, coaches, veterans, rookies, everyone's noticing it. He's not walking around like a rookie trying to prove himself. He's just showing up and letting the work speak. And according to several reports from the OTA media session, that cool confidence is rubbing off on everyone around him. During one of the team drills, reporters noted how Joe Flacco, the longtime veteran, couldn't help but crack a smile after one of Shedeur's perfect reads. No jealousy, no tension, just respect. That says a lot. These are quarterbacks all competing for the same job, but Shedeur's presence isn't causing friction. It's creating conversation. Players and staff have reportedly been impressed, not just with the throws, but with how Shedeur handles the pressure. He's locked in during meetings, absorbs coaching like a sponge, and according to one beat reporter, even corrected a receiver's route depth during a post-rep breakdown. For a rookie to speak up like that and get agreement from coaches, that's not normal. That's leadership. What's more interesting, Shedeur isn't doing interviews. He's letting his game do the talking. No over-the-top sound bites. No spotlight chasing. He knows people are watching, especially the doubters, and he's fine with that. One insider even said he's got that look, like he knows something the rest of the league doesn't. And maybe he does, because every time he steps on the field, you get the sense that he's not just trying to earn a roster spot, he's trying to take someone's job, quietly, calmly, and that has everyone, even inside that locker room, just a little on edge. The analysts who were watching OTAs up close, yeah, they're talking, and not in whispers. Shedeur Sanders has officially entered the NFL conversation in a way few fifth-round picks ever do. What's catching everyone off guard isn't just his mechanics or footwork, it's how prepared he looks. One analyst noted, he's operating like someone who already knows the playbook inside and out. That's rare for a rookie in May. Multiple reporters on site pointed out that Shedeur had best of the day and was easily the most the young QB, while Deion Gabriel looked like he was still adjusting to the NFL speed, throwing balls that got swatted down and even picked off. Shedeur looked crisp, focused, unshaken. Even national outlets are beginning to catch on. Some are starting to question whether the pre-draft criticism about Shedeur before was more narrative than fact, and more than a few insiders are asking a wild question. Is it possible that the Browns got the second or third best quarterback in the entire draft in the 5th round? Because if you watched OTAs with an honest eye, it's clear. This kid isn't just competing, he's coming. When you line up all the quarterbacks on Cleveland's depth chart and actually break it down, the picture starts to get interesting. Joe Flacco brings veteran experience, sure, he's seen it all, and that calm in the pocket is still there. But physically, he's not the guy who's gonna roll out and make something happen when a play breaks down. He's a stabilizer, not a spark. Then you've got Kenny Pickett. He's polished, he's serviceable, but he hasn't exactly shaken up the NFL yet. He looks like a guy who can hold down the fort, not one who's going to lead a playoff charge. Dylan Gabriel, still raw. The batted passes and high releases from OTAs are an early red flag. He's got potential, but it's clear he's still adjusting. And then there's Shedeur Sanders. Quick decisions, clean footwork, better anticipation than expected, no wasted. Movement, the difference. While the others are reacting, Shedeur is already diagnosing us before the snap. He's not just showing he belongs, he's showing he's ahead. There's no quarterback controversy yet. But if Sanders keeps this up through training camp, things in Cleveland's QB room could get real complicated, real fast. If you're the Browns front office right now, you've got to be feeling both excitement and pressure. Nobody expected Shedeur Sanders to show up this polished this early. But now that he has, the coaching staff is facing a dilemma most teams would kill for. Too many capable quarterbacks and one unexpected riser making a lot of noise. What does this mean moving forward? Well, the Browns suddenly have flexibility and leverage. If Shedeur continues trending upward through mandatory minicamp and into training camp, they'll have to make some tough decisions. Do they keep rolling with the safe bets in Flacco or Pickett? Or do they take a real chance on a rookie who's clearly more prepared than anyone thought? And here's the twist. If they try to stash Shedeur down the depth chart for development, they risk losing momentum and, worse, creating friction in the locker room. Because players know, they see what's happening in practice, and if the guy making the best throws isn't getting the reps, questions will start flying. The Browns didn't plan for this quarterback shakeup, but Shedeur Sanders is forcing their hand, and it's starting to look like they might have a star on their hands, whether they were ready for him or not. So here we are. Shedeur Sanders came into OTAs as a 5th round pick with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. Now, he's one of the biggest stories coming out of Cleveland. Not because he's flashy, not because of his name, but because day by day, he's showing he just might be the most NFL-ready quarterback on the Browns roster. The vets are watching. The coaches are adjusting, and the fans, they're starting to ask the question out loud. Could Shedeur actually be QB1 by the end of preseason? It sounds wild. Until you watch the tape, now we want to hear from you. Should the Browns seriously consider starting Shedeur this season, or is it too soon to throw him into the fire? Drop your take in the comments, because this debate is just getting started. And if you want the inside edge on how this story unfolds, every throw, every headline, every twist, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This isn't just another rookie story. This could be the start of something massive in Cleveland. Trust us, you're going to want to see how this plays out.